said. Okay, so, and of course, as Stuart said, I'm also involved in other KMGN activities, and I head the project of the ISO 3041. So if you have any questions at the end, you're also welcome to ask other questions on other issues. So let me share my screen. This is about the amount of people that are going to join us, I understand. Probably. So can you see my screen now? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. We've got at least another 2 or 3 coming, Moria, but I'm expecting a few more.
Okay, so I'll just tell you that I love questions that come while I'm speaking. Okay. So ask, stop me, argue with me, whatever you wish. Arthur told me that you like to discuss, so, and you like to collaborate, so please do. And I will start, but stop me whenever you wish. If you ask questions on the chat and I'm not aware that your questions are on the chat, Stuart, that's your responsibility to say hello there. There are some questions. Maybe we consider these as well. Okay, so please, all of you, enjoy. Let's enjoy our time now. And let me start. Okay. I wanted to speak, or we thought that it would be a good idea to speak about managing the change in KM initiatives, because we know that it's a nice idea having an internet, having lessons learned, having methodologies for different things, and even establishing some platforms and processes of work. But yet we can have a wonderful solution, and people are 108 degrees and they don't see us, they don't know about us, they don't use us. So we have to do more. And that's what I want to discuss together with you today. So first of all, a question to the audience. How would you define, or how would you explain change management? And bonus question, why did I choose a tree?
Ooh. Because it constantly changes.
Constantly changes. And
it goes through a cycle.
It's not manage this change. Every year, again and again, it changes, and it works like an ecosystem that every component knows what it has to do, when and why. And it's like an orchestra that every part works, all components work together. Yes. Okay, so that was supposed to be the hard part, but that was the easy part. So let's go to the second part. What is a change management?
Oh, don't make it just me that talks. Helen, please.
I'm definitely saying nothing.
Okay, so I'll start and you add later on. Maybe it takes time till you feel familiar and you feel comfortable to speak. And you always remember, my English is not as good as yours, so you're always superior. So it's easy for you to join in. So please be my guest. So we define a change management as an organized, systematic process. And its purpose is to produce new perceptions and or new habits. As we all know, we can decide that we want things. We can decide tomorrow that we want to be slimmer and we want to go on a diet. It's not good enough deciding to do something good. And it's not only that we have to know that it's good. It's not enough to say, here's a good idea, here's a good solution, here's a new platform, here's a good KM initiative. We have to have a process, something that they ridiculously called change management, because it's not a good name, because it's not self-explanatory, but we cannot complain because knowledge management for itself is also not that self-explanatory. So it's a not easy naming, or not a self-explanatory naming, but we're speaking about some organized, systematic processes we are aiming at changing our perceptions and or changing our habits. In the organizational context, changing our habits in work. Okay, so I want to speak about the change management challenge. And maybe you know this cartoon, but sometimes we ask, hey, who wants to change? Who wants change? And everyone says, yes, 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 we need change because things aren't good enough. But then comes the second question. Does anyone know the second question? Who wants to change? And thumbs down. Who wants change? Thumbs up. Who wants to change? Yes, but not me. Yes, but not today. So this is one of our great challenges that we have to deal with when we come to change management. It's not good enough to have a good idea. Let's continue. I want to run a quiz. And as you are not too many people, so please yell out, please come up with ideas. I will ask 3 questions. It's like in Jeopardy. I'll give the answer, you find the question. The first number, you see it here. What does this number represent? I'll give you a clue. It's not 8, it's infinity.
I was about to say it's on the side. So what is our perception?
Okay, so yes. So why did I choose infinity? What does it represent in the world of change and change management?
The number of ways things can go wrong.
Great.
A continuous
Additional
loop.
ideas?
Yes. Continuous loop. Change is constant.
Okay, so it's the number of changes that we experience or we are requested to, the number of changes that the organization wants to perform or life wants to perform. And there are really a lot of them. I hope you do better on the second quiz. 25%, and I was here very, very generous.
Successful change programs?
If we were together in the room, I would throw you a candy. Yes, 25% are successful change initiatives. Wow. McKinsey are running already nearly 30 years. These, they're reviewing, they're researching, they are checking, they're asking people, organizations, and year after year, we have new ideas and new methodologies and new understandings, but year after year, it is something around 20%, the successful change initiatives. And I wanted to be generous, so I said, let's say 25. Maybe the people were too harsh on themselves. And that is a shocking number, because if we want to succeed, and we want to succeed, we have to think wise, to be very, very wise when we perform changes, because we want to succeed more than 75% of the change managers in organizations, or organizations that don't have change managers but try it in other ways. Last question. 1 to 2 months.
Standard change program.
Hey, I want to be more optimistic. The average time until a change fades.
Right.
And I want to say that it is a good sign, because organizations put a lot of energy and resources into these changes. And they say, we need quality, we need knowledge management, we need A, B, C, and it fades out. It doesn't take too much time, because if it doesn't succeed, so at least we waste less. So these are the figures as we understand them when we start our journey. Now, we are in an era of mortality that makes things worse, not like things were 10 years ago. Mortality, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. These are 4 characteristics of the new age. So we understand that the 30 years that the McKinsey are performing their reviews, they are asking the organizations, our opening conditions get worse from year to year. And we will in a few minutes start with some answers, but I want to share the understanding that it is really one of our critical challenges in every area, and specifically in knowledge management. Because I could speak of 10, 20, 30 different ideas, but I think that it's really important that we try, that first of all, we understand that it's a hot potato here and that we have to act differently. So I want to take you to meet John Carter. John Carter, to those who know the change management, or that are familiar with the change management discipline, is one of the gurus of change management, if not the. And he speaks about 8 stages of change management. Please listen closely, carefully. First of all, we have to create a sense of urgency. We have a good idea, we have a good platform, we have something very good in knowledge management, another area we want to implement. First, we have to create a sense of urgency. We have to build a guiding coalition, to form a strategic vision and initiatives, enlist a volunteer army, enable action by removing the barriers, generate short-term wins, sustain the acceleration, and institute the change. Now, the ideas, part of them, we know them from Kurt Lewin, like institute the change, and from others, but these 8 stages, John Carter went all over the world, and I have here a penguin, not only because that the fact that in Australia we have penguins, but because on his first book, speaking about change management, he had penguins on the cover. So the penguins went on and on with him. So these are the 8 stages that Carter worked, said that they together were his methodology. And John Carter was a very famous figure. So 500 Fortune companies, 500 Fortune organizations, all of them worked with Carter. I won't say that in Citibank, all the departments worked for him. Maybe only one department, but in every one of the 500 Fortune companies, he had implementations. And yet, also in John Carter implementations, the degree of success was not that good. Remember, thumbs down. So John Carter was a very brave person. He didn't say, okay, it happens in other organizations. It happens also in my organizations, an organization that I consult to. And he started learning and checking and observing. Oh, it's great that many people joined us. If you can turn on your cameras, it would be even greater. But anyhow, I love you joining in, so thank you. So John Carter investigated, and he found the place where the majority of the organizations fail, where they fail in continuing with the change management. Of course, this is cyclic, but it's like a loop, but it goes forward. So my question to you, and now here, Stuart, I'm asking you to please, or you or anyone else who has good technology capabilities, to please take a screenshot of this screen and put it on the chat. These 8 questions, these 8 steps, and I'm going to ask you a question. Every one of you, please tell me where you think the organizations in the majority of the circumstances and the majority of the situations, where do they get stuck? Now, in order to answer, please use menti.com. I couldn't put it on an option question because it has only 6 options, and I wanted to add here 8 questions, 8 options. So please go to menti.com. You see here the link, menti.com. Use the code 21168938 and write one word: acceleration, short-term wins, remove barriers. You choose wherever you think that everyone gets stuck. Please choose and start working. Do you have it on the chat already? Can I show the Menti? Yes. So for a minute, okay, we have the chat, and on the chat, the code again. Okay, I'll write the code again here, 21168938. It's on the, and I see that you didn't put it, so I'll see if I can add it here. No, I cannot add it, but you know what? I will, just a minute, we will do it like the old days. Copy, paste. Here you have the answers. And now, with your permission, I will move to see where organizations fail. Great, you're starting to work. You want some music in between? Okay. People, lack of sponsorship, guiding coalition. 2 is also guiding coalition. Creating a sense of urgency, micromanagement, people. Any additional answers? Yeah. Okay, we'll wait. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's copy your answers. Go, go, go. We will copy your answers to the presentation. We will show it now. Okay, and the winning answer is he, she, it, creating a sense of urgency. Dear people, most organizations get stuck in the first stage. That is shocking. As we said, John Carter is a very wise man, not only brave, but also wise. So after he wrote the book about change management and several other additional books, he wrote a book specifically on how to create a sense of urgency. But please remember that in mind. Remember the idea that it's not good enough to have an idea. We have to create a sense of urgency. I'll explain it in 2 minutes, because otherwise people will say, oh, it's a good idea, but we have very urgent stuff to deal with. We'll handle the change tomorrow. We'll adjust the change tomorrow. Today, we have things we are responsible to accomplish for yesterday. And therefore, organizations, time after time, fail in initiating the changes. Let us continue. Any comments, any thoughts of the precious audience?
I have one, and this is an issue for me, because in emergency services, a building burning down with children in it is urgent. Everything else kind of pales in insignificance. So it is hard to get people excited about something that doesn't involve somebody immediately dying.
Oh, but you have to connect it. So you connect it, you connect the KM initiatives to the lives of people. You say that it's not only, you have to connect it, turn it not to be something nice to have, but something that saves lives. And you have to communicate it. We are now saving lives. This platform is part of the life saving. Let us continue. And now we understand why we need a good methodology. We understand why it is not good enough to guess, to try, to only work with common sense. So several basic assumptions, and we can start, or we're already starting. But you know, I like quizzes. What is my first basic assumption? You know what the picture is? What is the assumption?
That people know what the change will be.
Okay, why is it, what has to do with the kitchen and the hamburger making?
Is it a hamburger? Where are you cooking your bread?
I don't know, but I just now decided.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just thinking that it's just a process. We know we need to change our process. So we're obviously cooking a chicken and tomato hamburger thing somewhere, and yeah, no recipe. Okay, cool. Yep,
There's no recipe.
Yeah,
no fixed recipe. These are the bad news. If there would be a good recipe, we would be rich, but there's no good recipe. So we have to work with guidelines. Our methodologies include guidelines and a set of tools. We have to have knowledge management. We have to manage our knowledge on the set of tools, what can be used where and why. So let us continue. Basic assumption 2. This is the answer. What is the assumption? Why did I use this picture? What am I trying to say?
That technology will solve it.
Could be
Okay.
a guidebook, a book in one's hand.
This is you were close. This is a process that must be managed. We don't like the term change management. That's not self-explanatory, but yet this is a process that should be managed. It's not only changing, it's not only running, it's not only having something. We have to manage this process. I will show it in a minute too. Okay, so let us start with our recommendations. I want to give you recommendations for the beginning, for the middle, and for endings. It's many endings because we work in stages. And it's, again, I just took a few of them, some typical ones, because as Lynn, of course, knows, and many others may know, it's all out there. There are so many. Just a minute. Admitted. Stuart, I'm helping you admit people that are asking to join in. Okay, so let us start with our recommendations. And unsurprisingly, we will start for the recommendations for starting our journey. So I want to speak about 3 things. How to initiate, how to start this journey. A, we already know. It's not good enough to have a sense of urgency. It's not good enough to have a good idea. We have to create the sense of urgency. You know what? I'll go even before. Let's start with unfreeze. I'll start with unfreeze. I have a group, I have a room full of people, and they came to hear about our new change, our new digital platform, our new lessons learned process. They're waiting to start, and the gong comes in, and I can start speaking. What are the people doing? What do you think they are doing now? One option, listening. Big ears. Some of them. The majority are very busy. What are they doing?
Ignoring.
Ignoring. They have too many ways to ignore. They are ignoring because they have to protect themselves. They have to protect themselves because there are too many changes out there. So they are protecting themselves by not listening, maybe hearing, but not listening. They're protecting themselves, but they're very polite. So they're not speaking one with another when I start speaking, but they have their cell phones or their laptops. So they are checking out the Facebook, the LinkedIn, the email, whatever they have to do, the WhatsApp. We have to make them stop. We have to make them drop everything and be with us. So that is the first thing you have to do. You have to catch their attention. You have to catch their attention. And we used Kurt Lewin's naming. He spoke about unfreezing. Now, when he spoke about unfreezing, he didn't even dream that we will have the laptops and the phones, and he spoke about the concept. But today, it's even more accurate than ever, and it's a problem. So first thing, you have to catch their attention. How do you do it? It could be many ways. You can start with noise. You can start with bringing in something that is very unexpected. You know, I just finished reading a great book of the two guys I admire, Chip Heath and Dan Heath. I don't know if you all know they have a series of books, and I never read the first book because I said probably the first book wasn't good enough. So I started with the second, the third, etc. We'll come back to them because the best seller, the best book they sold is Switch, that deals with change management. But they speak here about the unexpected. And we have to do something unexpected to grab their attention. We have to do additional things in continuing, but that is the first thing. We have to help them think, understand that there is something in it for them. For them is personally, for their role, for things in the society that are important for them. It can be in several levels, but it has to have something that's in it for them. The YIAFM, for those who don't know the term, is what's in it for me. And in order to initiate, in order to start this journey, we have to grab their attention so they will listen. We have to give them, they have to get the understanding that there's something in it for them, personally on the job or globally, something that's important for them, because people care about the society. Doesn't matter if it's the organization, if it's people who starve or sick or whatever. And the third thing, I'm sorry that it's opposite on the directions. I forgot turning it around. You know, in Hebrew, we work from right to left, and I probably, when I translated the slides, left it opposite way. And the third thing is, we have to let them understand that it's something that they want to deal with yesterday, not tomorrow, not next week. These are my 3 tips for starting the journey. Anyone wants to comment, to ask, to add? Let's go to the body, to the core of the knowledge management.
Oh, sorry, Moria. I just wanted to have a question. In my organization, we're currently doing this. And the urgency and what's in it for me is very clearly defined, but the unphrase is not. Is there any way you can discuss that a bit more or describe that a bit more? Because it's still not clear to me what exactly it is that you mean by it.
Even if you have people that if we would speak with them and they would listen to us, they would say, okay, it's good for me. First of all, we have to do a few things. First of all, we have to grab their attention so they will at least listen to us. If you are addressing them one-on-one, that's a way to start it. If you are sending an email to 100 people or to 5,000 people, and they are too busy, they will not even open the email, and they will not even know that there's something in it for them and that it's urgent, so that they want to handle it now. So that is the first part, the technical part of unfreezing. The second part is we have to, when they start listening, we have to start changing their mind, making them understand that there is something interested here, and they are willing to listen and continue listening. Because otherwise they said, okay, you grabbed your attention, there was a noise, but I'm going back to my business. So you have to unfreeze their notion that they are freezing their, it's very easy to stay in my chair. It's very convenient. I have an area of a very confident place. And if I have to change, I have to go out of my area of convenience. So that is what we want to do. We want to open a window, open a peak, so they will listen and be willing to maybe consider what we are saying. Does that help?
Yes, it helped. It clarified a bit for me. That's also a good tip to going forward with that. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. Please, I'm just giving you the iceberg, just the ideas. Go read, learn much more on each one and one of them. Okay, so now let's speak about the body, the core. And again, I prepared here only tips. If we have time at the end, I'll go back and go into the work plan and how you build a work plan for change management, etc. But I'm trying to give you the ideas in between. And if we have time, we go back to additional things. Continue. I want to tell you that my 3 favorite methodologies, I never take them all as I never take only one methodology. As you saw, on the start area, I took a bit from Kurt Lewin, I took a bit from Carter, I took a bit from other ideas. I always combine, and I'm telling you also, don't only listen to what I'm saying, combine. And my 3 favorite ones are Jeff Hyatt with ADKAR. I'll show you a few ideas. I won't go into each one and one of them, but each one is like an anchor, and you can continue on and understand it much better after we finish. The second one is, as I said, the 2 Admire brothers, Chip and Dan Heath. And the third one is the wonderful idea of nudge. I was surprised to learn that nudge is a Yiddish word. You know, I know it because I'm Hebrew speaking, and Yiddish is something that is Jewish, but you know, it went out, and today it's already, so what's nudge? It's when you give a small, you have a small change and it has a big effect. So let me show you small ideas from the 3 very, very, very wise people, or not on, yes, from these wise people. ADKAR. ADKAR is an idea of Jeff Hyatt from the Proxy company, a Proxy organization. Someone knows what ADKAR means? Okay, it's not because you're not English speakers. If you don't know what ADKAR means, it's because it's acronyms for awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. What are we saying? In order for us to change a group of people, or to change ourselves, we have 5 barriers that we must be acknowledged of, and we have to decide which one we address. And hear me carefully. I'm not saying that we address all of them all the time, because you cannot go all over the place, scatter, do this and that and that and there and that, because people will get lost. We have to focus. So we can understand, so it's a good idea to understand that these are the 5 main barriers of organizations, why organizations find it hard, why groups, why people find it hard to change. A, they are not aware to the change. Why aren't they aware? They weren't listening, they didn't open the email, it slipped their mind, they're not with us. So one good. So if we know that this is the problem, this is what we are addressing. It's not good enough to say we have a change management program and we are sending every week teasers. It is important to say what is the purpose of the communication that we are using. Are we trying to get their attention, to grab their attention, to make them aware? Are we trying to change their mind for if they don't desire the change? And I won't go into all the reasons that people will not want to change. Political, blind objection, all kinds of reasons. They're afraid that they will lose something. But we have to address and understand, and I'll give you a good tip, what in every stage, when you're looking about a sub group, what are the two main barriers of this group, this team, at this specific timing? And also always work on 2 of these 5. And I'm stopping and speaking about this slide longer because this is the main backbone for the change management program later on. We every time ask ourselves, who do we want to work with? On what do we want to work? What are the 2 main barriers of each sub-team, each subgroup on this time, at this timing? Are they not aware to the change? Do they not want it? Maybe they do, but they don't know what to do in order to perform otherwise. Maybe they know what it takes, but there is a difference between knowing and being able to do it and performing. I know what it takes to cook good. The ability, 7, 8. There is a gap between knowledge, knowing something, and being able to do it. And the last thing is reinforcement. Okay, Stuart likes it that I don't cook too good. Okay. But I do it very, very quickly. And when I don't have time, I buy, and I do know how to cook. It's not that bad. Reinforcement. What's reinforcement? Even if I know the way to work, I work on automat. I'm so used to doing it one way that even if someone tells me, there's a shortcut, you can do it with 15 minutes less, and I'm aware and I desire and I know it and I am able to do it. I'm so working on automat that I continue working the old way. So these are the 5 barriers, and I think that it's a great backbone for setting a methodology in order to decide on what are we working with who, when. Questions before I continue? Arthur said that you love speaking. Does anyone disagree? Okay, so let us continue.
They're all just being very shy, Moira.
Thank you.
I'm sure that there's a great deal of enthusiasm. I'm busily tweeting what you're saying, by the way, and I'll send those to you later because I know that you're not on Twitter, but others usually do that too.
I think there might be some questions in the chat as well.
Okay, maybe someday we will speak about the ecosystem of all the social media channels in organizations and in our personal life, because I have a strategy, and I'm not on Twitter no more. I'm not on Twitter anymore because I have a strategy where I put my resources, and every different channel has its purposes. But thank you, Arthur, and I'm glad that you can find me out there on Twitter, even though I'm not active. Switch. I spoke about these 2 fabulous brothers, Chip and Dan from UK. The truth is that they didn't start working together until one day they understood that they are dealing from different places with the same challenges. And Switch speaks about when change is hard. And they have a handful of ideas and tips and recommendations in 3 areas. Now, the 2 first areas are obvious, but yet their tips are good. They are great. The one is the rational one, and the second is the emotional one. The rational one, they are saying that moving on with a change, managing a change is like driving your bike. You have to be very accurate because every small change has very big, very a lot of effect. The effect is can be very high. It can make change is very significant changes. So they give a handful of tips what to do to direct the rider to plan and to work more accurate and more correct and to succeed better. So what I'm saying is go read the books. I have summaries in Hebrew mainly. You can Google translate them out at the internet of any of the books. I summarized 180 books. That's why my books look like this. You see all the stickers, the post-its? That's what I do when I read them, and then I can summarize them. But that's easy. And go read the tips because they are fabulous. But the second thing is they are explaining us that in order to do the emotional change, and we always know that there's a rational route and there's emotional route, it's like motivating the elephant. I would say even more than that. Think about an elephant that is sitting down, that is lying. Now, what we have to do, that's how they explain it, when we want a change, is to lift the elephant and make it start walking. Think about these two actions, causing the elephant to get up and causing it to move. That's how you have to think about your change. And again, they have a handful of recommendations, and I'm sending you to read them. So these two routes seem very natural for us, rational and emotional. Two hemispheres works well. Why am I speaking about a third one? What else can there be? And they have a great idea that I was aware of before I knew them, but I never named it. And when you name things like they do, it gives you a notion and it directs you and it gives you ideas and guides. It guides you how you can use it. So does anyone know what the third route is? What the third area of work is? Lynn knows, I already see with her head nodding in. Okay, let me share. Shaping the path. Now, they have here a brilliant idea that we use, but we have to name it in order to use it more. They are saying, and please listen carefully, they are saying, you know what, I'll give you 2 examples for their book, and then I'll explain it. They are running an experiment. People like popcorn in movies? Of course. Do people like popcorn that is that was cooked, that was prepared a week ago or even more or even older? No, not at all. So they take 2 theater halls and they give one of them small cans of popcorn, very old, as we said, not fresh, not tasty at all. And the other hall gets a very huge, a bigger popcorn can. And they want to examine how much popcorn do people eat. On one hand, people want to eat popcorn because they like popcorn and it's free. On the other hand, it's not tasty. And what they see, does anyone have a clue, has any clue, has any idea how many people ate? Where did they eat more? In both rooms, they ate something like, yes, someone asked, suggesting 2/3. No one really finished the popcorn in average, but they ate 2/3 because they all the time tried tasting it, maybe it will be good. It didn't matter if the can was huge or the can was small. People ate 2/3. In other words, they caused people to eat more by having bigger cans. That is shaping the path. We are preparing the path that people walk in because it's out there. I'll give you another example. Life-saving. They found out that in hospitals, something that may shock us all, but we are already familiar with that fact, people die from being in the hospital, not because of their sickness only, but because of the hospital. And the question is, why do they die? And there are all kinds of causes. One of them, 2% die because of wrong medicine provided by nurses. Wow. It's less than 2%, but they find out that in 2% of the cases, causes, that is one of the highest on the rank. In 2% of the situations, nurses give wrong medicine, and part of these cause deaths, part of these cause less serious problems. So they want to change, and they try thinking out what to do. And they have a great idea. They give the nurses, first of all, they ask the question, what, do nurses don't know that they should give good medicine, the right medicine? Of course they know. They even do it correctly in 98% of the situations. So it's a very difficult, a very challenging change management. And again, they ask themselves, why don't they give the right medicine in 2% of the situations? And the answer is 2 causes. 2 audiences interfere, causing them not to give the right medicine. Who? Doctors calling them for something, and sick people, hospitalized people calling them for something. Wow. The hospitalized people change every week. So it's very difficult to convince them to change because every week you have to start again. And the doctors, they are there forever. But try changing doctors. So what do? They buy and they prepare special caps and special uniform that they put on, like a vest that they put on their uniform, you know, like you have in your car for accidents. And it's written on the behind, don't interfere me, I am giving medicine now. And they are supposed to wear these vests only and the caps only when they give medicine. They designed this experiment for something like 6 months. 4 months later or 3 months later, the nurses are yelling. They don't want to continue the experiment. Why? Does anyone know? They hate the vests. Okay, so they have to stop the experiment, and they go and check what happened, what did they learn up till now. And they see that the causes, the problems with giving medicine went down drastically. They don't have no more people dying from wrong medicine. So of course we have a happy end. They buy new uniform, they buy new vests that look very fashionable and everything, and we have a very, very good end to this story. So again, we see how we can shape the path. That is the same thing that we go into a hospital and we find these hygiene, cleaning things. We don't need anyone to say, we say, oh, we're in a hospital, we start cleaning our hands with these non-soapless soap. There are so many examples. We go to, in knowledge management, we want people to use the lessons learned. So we go to a form where they are starting to work with new suppliers, and we add there the link to tips with working with suppliers on the right box. And people start using this box because we bring it to their path. We bring it near to them. We don't wait for them to come to the solution. We bring the solution to them. Please remember that. You can, and you are always welcome to read all the tips and read the full book. But this Shaping the Path has so many implementations in knowledge management, and it's very important and it's very, very easy to do. Questions? The last one is nudge. Okay, what is this picture we see here?
It's urinal.
It's a toilet of the airport in Amsterdam. They had a very serious problem that men, and I'm sorry that I am feministic, that men were not clean enough and they weren't directing good enough in the toilets. So they made a very simple change. They took these stickers of flies and they put them where they want people to direct, and they didn't say a word. And the costs of the cleaning paper dramatically decreased. This is a nudge, doing something small that will change the actions of people. Now, not always we can do it, but they give us in their book, and again, you can go and read the summaries of the book, and you can send you to it Hebrew, so everyone who is Hebrew fluently speaking or fluently reading Hebrew or wants to use Google Translate, I can send you the summaries for all these books. They speak about social proof. If you want people to change and they are not starting to work with a new internet, you send report every week to the managers. Where are the different units ranked? How are they ranked? And every manager wants to be one place higher. He knows that everyone is seeing his report. He's only on the 5th place. So he knows that he can't be on the 1st, or he's on the 20. He knows he can't be on the 1st, but he doesn't want to be the last. He wants to be 1 or 2 places higher. This is social proof. Very easily, we make them do better. That's only one example. Of course, there are many examples. Choice architecture. We manage the way the choices are architecture are built in order for them to choose the right thing. In countries, for example, where you the most easy way to explain it is by speaking about opt-in and opt-out. And in countries where you ask people, do you want to donate your body to science or to other people? And if the option is opted in and they have to opt it out, they have a more percentage of people who are donating than in other countries where they have to click one click in order to opt in. Opting in and opting out is part of the choice architecture. Of course, there are other ideas how to do it. Process simplification. Make the process as simple as possible. Use very simple words. Use one message every time, etc., etc. Give them incentives. They will want to work by themselves, and let them know. When people know, sometimes one nugget of knowledge will rush them into our change. So I'm not going into the details here because I went into details where things were more methodology. Here are small tips that you can combine into your non-recipe and use them day after day. I want to give you several tips for the ending process. And it's not one end, because we have to, I'll tell you, you know, one of the problems with knowledge management projects, with knowledge management initiatives, that they are very long. Nothing ends in a week or in a month. So it's like a very long rope. What happens when the rope is long? It bends. People get tired. So what do we do if we have a long rope and we don't want it to bend? Yes, thank you, Brad. We use small pieces and we connect them. We have to do the same thing with knowledge management initiatives. We have to divide it into small pieces, and every time to start, to continue, to end, start, continue, end, again, again, again. What can I tell you is important when we end things? Because we never really end. When we really end, as Kurt Lewin told us, and also John Carter took it, we institutionalize our new habits. But what we do on these small endings, two things, two tips. Any ideas? Don't be shy, please, please. We're already 1 hour of speaking.
Celebrate the wins.
Celebrate the wins. Great. That was in the picture. I had to ask you what win the picture. So we do two things, and really celebrate is the in, and the out is communicate. We celebrate the wins with our people, with the people who are involved with the change, in the change. We give them energy to continue, to restart, to go to the next phase. This energy is very important. And out, we communicate our success. Again and again, every time we end, communicate the success. It also gives energy to the people inside, and it also gives incentives to the people outside. Any questions before I go back? So we spoke about, yes.
Oh no, I was just wondering what's the influence or consideration around current culture in an organization around when thinking about or designing a change program. I may have missed that in the beginning. Sorry, I came in a bit late.
Yes, no, of course. When we speak about the barriers, and we speak about the way we work, we always take into consideration our culture. But we take our culture and we take the place the people are, and what are their barriers and what are their incentives. These are three things that go together. But, however, the culture issues are the same that we speak about in every other culture lecture, and knowledge management. And therefore, thank you, Brad, for asking, but I didn't go into the giving ideas on the culture part, because these ideas are in common with those that I would give in 5 different areas. And today I want to focus on change management. So it is important, but it is not unique. Of course, you can say that there are organizations that are easier to change, those who are more difficult to change, but we take it for granted when we start with the organization. Okay, so now that we almost ended, I'm bringing us back to the beginning. And I'm saying that we should not only take these ideas, but it is a good idea to have a work plan. If you want to bear me with 5 to 10 additional minutes, I'll give you very, very quickly the idea of the work plan. If you say that it's good enough, we had enough messages for today, we will stop here. Arthur, Stuart, people, just choose if you want to go to questions, if you want to go to discussion, or if you want to see a few minutes about the work plan.
I'd like you to go to the work plan, Moira.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. So I'll jump a minute to, as you see, I have a full presentation for the work plan, but we'll very easily, because you have set all the, we have set the fundamentals. So what is a change management program? What does it provide us? It provides us control of the process. We know what's happening. It enables us to focus on what is important, what we don't have if we don't have a program. And the bottom line, it gives us better achievements. So what is it and how do we do it? Very quickly. First of all, we identified our target audiences. Let's say if I have an internet, a professional internet, I can define 3, of course I can have more, just in this very simple example, 3 audiences: users, end users, SMEs, and managers. I define them and I write them down. Second stage, I define objectives for every group, for each group and group separately. For example, users, I want them to consume content. I also want them to feedback and to suggest, but mainly, let's say I want them to consume content. It doesn't matter because there are, I just gave one simple example. Of course, in different examples of internet, it will be different. Maybe we want them to share, maybe we want them to come up with new ideas, but just bear with me as a simple example. The SMEs, we want them to contribute content and to support usage. And what do we want the managers to do in order to succeed? To motivate employees to use. We don't really count on it that they will use it too much. But what is most important for us? That they will motivate the employees to use. So that's how we define objectives for each group. Now, what do we do with it? We stop. We analyze the challenges. And I love using the outcome model. You remember it an hour ago or half an hour ago? Let's say that the users at the beginning are not aware and are not desire. And maybe 1 month later, we have to deal with reinforcement. So we start with these 2. Later on our plan, we will deal with reinforcement. SMEs, we start with knowledge and ability because they are aware, we work with them one-on-one, they desire, it gives them some place, it gives them honor, recognition. So it's not a problem of awareness to desire. It's a problem of knowledge and ability at the beginning and later on reinforcement and managers, awareness and reinforcement. So because we believe that they want, etc. What do we do with it? We define the success enablers. And again, it's only a simple example, so you have to adjust it to your specific case. If the audience is users, so maybe key success factors will be communication, what's in it for me, giving them the meaning, good experiences. And reinforcement is maybe we exercise things, we send reminders, we embed usage in processes. You remember switch, shape impact. For SMEs, we may have trainings, speak transparency in what's happening behind the scenes, support, giving them the meaning, exercise, etc., etc. Of course, different ways, and I can continue on. What next? This is all the planning, not yet the work plan. It's planning the work plan. We analyze what are the potential channels that would work with each group. And I have here 20 different channels, tools. Tools is like forms, checklists, different workshops, executive voice, having the manager speak out, trainings, coaching, support center, incentives, presence, recognition, internet, sometimes through the internet. If internet is not the change itself, we can use it in order to communicate our changes, videos, control, emails, one-on-one meetings, newsletters, gamification, signatures, signage, group meetings, feedback, dashboard, social media, and you understand that I start because I don't have more place on my slide. So what I'm telling you to do is to choose among these 20, what are the 3 most effective for every audience in your specific organization and case. Match the channels. And then you can prepare the work plan. What do I do before? On what do I work? I'm not saying what will be the specific teaser. On what do I work before? On unfreeze, how do I do it? What channel? What do I work maybe on the launch date? Maybe 2 weeks after, and months is 1 to 3. Usually we have routine things and we have peak things every month. So this is how we prepare a work plan that is not only containing lines of objectives and activities, but has a good rationale with our methodologies supporting it in order to succeed. What were these 7 steps? Define your main target audiences, define objectives for each, map the challenges, decide what are the success enablers, analyze the potential channels for your organization and for these audiences, design the path, and define a work plan, and of course, work with it, use it, and succeed. I'm going back to end my presentation. Please, please, please do not forget, as good our initiative would be, they will not come by themselves. We have to work. It's a lot of work. It's hard work. But what I tried to tell you, be it smart work. Smart work, no recipe, a lot of tools that can help us. And then maybe we can change directions, the people facing one another, and maybe even integrating. So that's it. And I'll stop sharing, and I would love hearing comments, thoughts, what I really, really hope that we will have in the middle, but was less. I'm here with you. Please speak.
Thank you, Moria. That last bit on the work plan, working backwards to work out what the users are. We've been doing some user archetype work. Have you used that as well? Is that a tool that you use?
Of course. Hackathon is used as part of the challenge, but it is a one-time usage mainly, and it's very expensive resource. So, and it's a peak. I always tell people that they should combine 10% peaks and 90% ongoing things. So if you have the resources, if you have the money for a hackathon, use it, but do not be tempted to think that this wow will stay for more than a week or 2.
Yep. Thank you.
And hackathon is even better for generating the ideas, not for implementing them. Or it can be for implementation, but it's even better for generating, brainstorming new ideas. So if I would have the money, I would put it somewhere else probably. So it is possible, it can help, but because we have limited resources, I'm not sure I would use it too much. Any other additional channels, any other tips that you can join, that you can share with the team, with the group?
It's Nikki. One of the things that I've been doing around designing potential channels, and that's part of keeping the momentum going, that after the change, we need to still have resources and places that people can go to. So mapping all of our channels has been quite a big thing, to identify the channels that different people use the most. And it's not one channel, it's multiple channels. And that's been a bit of a challenge for people. Say, which channel do I need to go to, or why are you still doing it there? And but to get people to understand that everybody's different and they like working with different channels. That's been a bit of a challenge, but I know that not having this one size fits all is really hard for other people to understand, because they like working the same way that they work. What I've been doing is basically doing a lot of collation and creating what I call topic resource pages about different items, and pulling in information from a whole lot of different areas to make it easier when we look at, if I'm looking at your slide, which I just took a quick screenshot of, but if I look at support training, and I'm really changing, I use the word learning, not training anymore, tools, workshops, having this one sort of stop shop that is pulling things in from different areas that people can go to more easily and help them on that path. And it was funny, I was typing, you were talking about, which one was it? And then you brought up the slide of nudge. And I was about to say, this is so similar to nudge, they relate so well together. Yes, so shape the path and nudge, I think, are interrelated. And that's sort of what I'm trying to do, looking at yours, you know, that step 7 is sort of helping them. I know it's towards the end, but it still is interrelated. So, I mean, I'm definitely going to get Made to Switch and switch. And they sound really good. I love the concepts. And somebody else put another resource in the chat, which I haven't seen. So it's great. Thanks.
Great. I want to relate, yes, everything is interconnected. When we're speaking about channels, we speak about them in 2 different levels. One time we're speaking about the end result, that we have more than one channel because not everyone fits all. But now we are also speaking about it on how to drive to change to the end point. So we're speaking about in 2 levels at the same time. So we A, have to understand it, and B, we have to have a strategy what to use when, because overwhelming with many channels is not good enough, not as a mean and not as an endpoint, but only using one is not wise either. So what I was trying to tell you is do it with strategy, do it with thinking what is best for every audience, what 2 things, what one channel, what 3 channels, and design them with thought.
Anybody else have any questions?
I did. It was a great presentation, thank you. And I suppose I'm opening it up to you, but also to everyone else on the call. You mentioned about nudge, which is a really great tactic to use. And I'm curious to ask what examples have people used with it in terms of a knowledge change project or whatever, where you have drawn on nudge and got really good results. So just, I suppose, opening it up to everyone as well to, you know, I suppose share some of those techniques and outcomes.
Okay, so let's open it to everyone and I'll add my ideas, my usages.
So I can show you one that we did. I'll just share my screen. We had several little, I'm not going to call them mini, but they were probes, knowledge management probes within CFA to find out what would work, what people would engage with. It's one thing to have employees, it's a whole nother thing to have volunteers. And so what we were finding was that people were kind of engaging with the contact search, with the search engine. And the organisation is very focused on people and relationships. If we ask them, who do you go to for help? It's always someone local. It's never to a manual or to something written down or on the intranet. That's a last resort. And so you can see here, we've got the search on the intranet. Is that coming up? Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
So if I do a search here for, say, extinguishers, then of course it's going to give information about extinguishers. My computer's suddenly decided to go very slow. But how could we nudge people to contact people outside their little local area. So what we did is on the right-hand side of the screen here, and I'm hoping it's going to appear any second, you'll see, oh, there's no related contacts. Great, probably because I misspelt it because my computer's gone slow. But on the right-hand side of the search results, we included people who are related to that topic. I know Microsoft's making some moves in this area, and I noticed that with Felicity and implementation last week, they had a big part where they had people on the side. So I'll try and just do another one on training. There we go. So you can see that there's the people related to training, the DCO of training, the commander for training and development, and a training project manager. So we're trying to nudge people to give people a call who they wouldn't normally interact with, rather than just going with the best local knowledge available. So that's a little example of how we've used nudge.
That's great. Thanks, Stu.
Anyone else wants to add? Okay, so I'll add, we have there a few things that are really straightforward. Choice architecture, opt-in and opt-out helps, great. It's very easy. Asking people on the change management if we can meet them and making it very simple. Yesterday, we wanted to make a change on some area with people all over around the world. So we made it very simple. Said, okay, that's what we want, and just click here in order to close the meeting where we will be speaking on it. So it was very, very easy, simple. So the two things I'm speaking out here is choice architecture and simplification of the process, and also guiding the process. Designing the stages that people have to perform, very easy, very simple, very designed. These are my more useful usages. I'll say the truth, the sexy ones are less useful or are more anecdotic, but not every day. We don't have stickers on our internet portals.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, thanks.
Any other questions?
An observation, I guess, about switch and about change. I read Switch about 5 or 6 years ago when I left a large organization that I'd been with for a long time. So there was a lot of change. I think what I'm trying to say is that I think that when you're thinking about change and change management, if you kind of weave it into your own life and you're changing yourself as well as the organization that you're working with, or your approach to knowledge management or whatever, it's actually much more effective, because you know, the Buddhists say that, you know, you don't enlighten other people, you enlighten yourself. So when we're thinking about it, it's not just in terms of what we're doing and what we're trying to affect, but what we're affecting in ourselves at the same time.
Great. Yes, that's always a good recommendation. Try it on yourself. I'll give you another recommendation. Go and reread the book.
Yes.
When not only here, but that's one of the reasons that I summarize the books, because even if I don't go and reread them, the summary itself is a good exercise in order to remember more. And later on, it's easier for me to go to the summaries. But every technique you can have to go and reread good things can help. And one of the things I do is learning every day again and again. Learning every day and saying there's no one good solution. I take bits and bytes from each one.
Moira, could you share your website with all your summaries on? Or is it easy to get to?
It's, as I said, it was in Hebrew. So I have an English website as well, but I don't have all the book summaries there. So I don't know how useful it will be for you. I will share it with you. I mean, first of all, you see the share, and oh, you can't see it, but if you go to the knowledge management, we have here I have here, you see a very long list. I can share I have a very long list that most of them are in English, the names of the books. Judgment Calls, Effective Change Management's Handbook. I have here, you can see on the minute, 187 summaries.
Wow.
Of books. And each summary is a summary. It's not 2 pages.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be that, no, this one we will just this minute. It could be short, it could be long, it could be different types, but most of them are something like 8 pages. Knowledge, this is our knowledge community, Stan Garfield, his new book. You
Wow.
see all his tips and tricks, not instead of reading, but helping it to be remembered. So I'll share it on our chat, but you have to Google translate it because the English version of my website does not include summaries because it's a lot of work to produce them. I apologize. Maybe one day when I'm on pension, I'll have time for that as well.
Yeah, or I might learn Hebrew.
I think it will be faster that I get to my pension and work on that as well.
That's great.
That's great.
Can I have a quick question?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you read so many books, and do you actually see like there's a change in change management for this, like the past 10 years or something like that? Because it seems that there are a lot of either theory or useful tips that actually has been there for quite a long time.
Yes, Dick.
And they still valid.
Yes, I'll say there are 2 changes as I understand them. One is the understanding of organizations that it won't come alone and you have to put effort into it. In some organizations, they even have change managers or change management initiatives. Because I remember years ago, people would say, okay, I have a consultancy firm with 40 employees. That's what we do. So organization would tell us, okay, you just build it, we will manage. And I would say, give us a smaller budget, but leave us to help with the implementation. No, that we know alone. So we had so many unused, so many statues of knowledge management out there. So first of all, that is a great change. The second change is that we are starting to see these new methodologies, and I don't want to call them theories because yet in the universities, the majority teaches the theories. So if people finish universities, finish college, finish universities, finish academic programs, most of them learn more theories than practical methodologies. I'm being very cautious. I won't say that it's a yes, no, or 0-1, but it's yet the majority. So I think that, I many times meet gurus, people who are very, very well known as change management experts. And I am a knowledge management expert that built its expertise in change management because I don't have any other, I have no choice because I want the change management, the knowledge management initiatives to succeed. And that this is their topic, their discipline, their expertise, do not know 80% of what I speak about. They heard about nudge, they heard about switch, they don't know what to do with it. They take only the sexy parts. So there's a big change that still has to be performed. Even though organizations understand it's important, put resources into it, there are new methodologies. These methodologies are not used good enough and thoroughly enough.
Thank you.
So Moria,
things will be better.
Come across multiple times is change management in terms of IT, which I would call configuration change management. It's when you're changing the XML control codes in a router or something, and you need to carefully plan for that. There could be an outage, there's testing involved. And I thought it was the weirdest thing in the planet, because my experience of change is exactly what you've been talking about, culture change and change of the organisation. But it seems to me that some organisations look at this sort of change that we're talking about tonight like the discipline of configuration change management, that we need to do testing, that we need to have this strict structured design that very similar to the XML control codes of a router. And it seems to me they lack some of the ability to involve the people. And I can't help notice that John Cotter was criticised a little bit because he saw change as a very top-down event, not something that everybody participated in. Do you see that things like switch and nudge are changing the thinking around that it's everybody involved, not just the leadership saying we go this way?
We're not yet there. But I believe that we as knowledge managers can make a change. And we have to start with our initiatives.
Yeah.
I think that we have to finish, but we have to do it in some optimistic way.
Yeah.
I am optimistic we will succeed. We have 40 people today that will start thinking a bit higher, a bit differently, we'll do one more thing at least, and we're already in a better place. So I think that would be a good ending.
Fantastic, good answer. All right, well, Moria, we're at the end of our time. Thank you so much for coming all this way to Melbourne to present. And it was lovely to have you here. It's been obviously painful through COVID, but one of the advantages has been we've got to have lovely people like you join us for our little meetings, which are usually held face to face. So thank you for your time and for preparing, and especially to some of those links. The book reviews just seem amazing. For those who didn't see it, the link to that has been shared in the chat.
Okay. I just say that the link, it's part of a very big knowledge base with something like 1,000 pieces of knowledge, or even more. If we have 200 summaries, we have 10 times, so 2,000 or more tips and reviews on knowledge management out there for your usage.
Fantastic. I encourage you all to have a look at the website and check it out. Dick, would you mind giving a quick overview of what we've got on next month?
Okay, so bye for the meantime, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Moira. Thank you.
Thanks, Moira. Good to see you again.
Yes, I don't really have much to say for the next one, but because Chris is more like familiar with the speaker for next month.
Right.
Arthur, do you know much about that? Or
I can add. I know Alex very well. Alex Bennett is just one of the most amazing people on the planet, and we're really, really lucky to get a hold of her. She's written many books. She has her personal library in her home on a 200-acre. Bye, Nikki. I'll see you on the 13th of July.
That was bye to Lynn.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going. Okay, bye, Lynn. Now she's gone. She has 200-acre. She was the most senior civilian in the U.S. Navy. Thank you, Stu, for sharing that. She writes most of her books with her husband, David, who is now, unfortunately, has dementia. He's, I think, about 15 years older than Alex, and she's in her 70s. And she's just got so much to share, and she could just talk for days. I spent 3 days at her home a couple of years ago, and we were co-authoring a book there. Well, Alex was writing it, and we were throwing a few insights in, to be honest. I mean, that's how it worked. But she was the most senior civilian in the U.S. Navy. She got the highest honor in the US Navy, and she's done just decades and decades of work on knowledge. I've got a full set of her little books. If you ever want to have a look at them and borrow them.
She's prolific author as well, as in a research author. They've got.
Yep.
Do they have it? Yeah, and done a lot in just the deeper levels around knowledge and knowledge cognition. Really, really interesting work.
Yeah, and she's going to talk on humility this time, which she's just written a little book on. She has. I remember talking to her. She wrote these 5 tomes, literally 5 tomes of stuff about knowledge, and it just brings everything, spirituality, talk about interconnecting everything. Those 5 books did it, and I said, Alex, no one is ever going to be able to read those books. So she said, well, okay. I'll create 25 little books. And within a year, she had the 25 little books created from, the 5 big ones. But Alex is just an amazing, amazing person. You really don't want to miss it. So, come along. And she doesn't do much speaking now. So I'm really, really pleased to have her. Oh, the thing I was going to mention about her property in the US, her personal library is 2 floors high and has 26,000 books in it.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm dying to visit that place.
Oh yeah. You really need to go. It's fantastic.
What is it called? The Mountain Retreat or something like that?
The Mountain Quest Institute. Yeah.
The Mountain Quest Institute. Yeah.
Yeah. My wife is shouting. My wife is shouting from the background. No, you've already got 1,000. You're not doing 26,000.
I'd love to be able to write like that.
Prolifically. Yeah. No, she's really, really amazing. Anyway, so that's a little bit. Dick, you're hosting, yes?
I will co-host with Chris.
No, you and Chris are co-hosting. Yep, good. You'll enjoy
that. But I need to mention that the timing is a bit different because I think Alex is in US, so I think we have like a 10 a.m. session.
Yeah, I think it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon her time.
Yeah, so make sure that be aware of the time. So it's not like 6 p.m. as usual.
Yep. Good mention, Dick. I had forgotten that. And I'd forgotten that the time was earlier tonight too. So that's why I came in late. Apologies for that.
I came in late.
Yeah.
All right.
I came across Alex through this book when I was doing my master's degree, and complex adaptive systems is one of the ideas that she used in the Navy, and that book explains it beautifully. A couple of years ago, I was with Arthur and we got to spend a day with her in Thailand after one of the conferences there. And it was an amazing day, just throwing ideas around. And I felt like a very, very junior knowledge management person in the room with her. And she was so gracious and humble about including and drawing ideas out of me. And I'm like, why are you asking me this? You know 10 times more than me. But it was an amazing day. And I want to just add to Arthur, encourage you to come along and meet her. It's fantastic to have her available. It may not be too many more years that she'll be around. So brilliant opportunity.
I've just responded. I wasn't able to get to Felicity's session. Is it possible to get the recording for that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll have to go back. I've just been running a virtual program in Vietnam for the last 4 weeks, and I'm a little bit behind on my follow-up administration activities. So I'll get that downloaded, and we're now putting them up onto a KMLF YouTube channel.
Okay.
And we've got Stan Garfield's there from earlier this year, and 1 or 2 others.
Stan, that's great.
All right, I'll get it put up in the next couple of days for you, Nikki, and send you a link, and we'll put an announcement on Twitter and wherever else.
Okay.
So we'll share those the links to the YouTube channel and that with members. I asked Felicity personally if I could show the video.
Oh, Felicity's still on.
She's still on, yeah.
Hi, Felicity.
Hi, everyone. I've just been very quiet sitting here listening. I'll turn my video on. I am still here.
So thank you, Felicity, because we showed the video at CFA to anyone that was interested, and we had 90 people turn up.
I can't believe you had 90 people. That's amazing.
Nothing I do gets 90 people, but I
Did you offer free popcorn or something? There had to be some reason to get them all in the room.
But they'd only hit 2/3 of it, right?
CFA. Maybe they were just interested in the future of work. Maybe they thought it was a chat about the coming leadership changes. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
That was a big nudge.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, all good. Hopefully, yeah. Nikki, if you want to have any follow-up conversations after you've seen the video, feel free to reach out.
Okay, thanks, Felicity.
Cheers.
All right, everyone, I need to head off. Arthur's still on, but thank you so much for coming, and I'm looking forward to next month. Hopefully we'll see most of you there.
Yeah, we should all go and check the red moon out.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks, Stu. Good to see everyone. Bye.
Good stuff, folks. I think we're going to end the call now, unless anyone particularly wants to stay on, right? Yep. All right. All good.
Thanks. Bye.